Put him on. He's not been very good in the early game. Even on a champion like Nidalee, he didn't have any impact. Try and push him on one of those champions, or just give him on a champion where he can start fights as effective as the Gragas Sejuani.
So far, we're looking for the same.
I guess we look at Jinx again, though. With, with 180 carry
Graves, Caitlyn, Lulu, that's all banned away. They take the Zed up. They're more afraid of Ryu Zed in this case, but there is so much left open. Do they first pick the Sejuani this time? Do they go for the Janna? There are a lot of options.
Go Janna. I haven't seen Svensson play Sejuani in a long, long time. It's not been his style of champion. So if you take Janna here, you should be able to get Sejuani in the next rotation, and you have a good setup already. Also a takeaway of the Janna from SK, unless you want that Thresh again, which does offer more roaming potential for a support like Kasing. It depends simply on what H2K wants as a support, because they can pick whatever they want here. They should be able to get both if they go Janna first. If they want Thresh, well, you can still take Sejuani and not show a whole lot.
Indeed, you can. H2K have a bit more time on the clock to decide if that's what they want to go. The Janna would make a lot of sense here. I really, really like the Sejuani, but I just doubt that that's going to be something that Svenskeren will want to pick up for himself.
Yeah, because then you get an SK Gaming playing a very different style, and when they tried to do that against the Unicorns of Love, it failed completely 2 games, and that's why they lost 2 of those games. So I like the Janna pickup in that case.
Kassadin taken away now.
Instant lock
and
in.
The Jinx for Forgiven. Okay. There's something a little different about this SK Gaming comp already.
Yeah, we're talking late game.
Yup.
In many ways from SK Gaming. They do have early tower pushing from a Jinx, but they are looking to scale up very slowly. What they typically do is to lock in an early jungler for Svensson, so he kind of saves the weak early game. With him being aggressive, Lee Sin, Rek'Sai, and so on. And they play around that as like the early protection through him, but he can't have the same impact as when they're playing these laners that can push in the waves. This mid lane should be in control of H2K. Now that I've already seen Kassadin.
Don't have to answer it just yet, but with the Jinx too for Forgiven, this is a champion that he's not played. We've already seen his Vayne. The Sejuani's no surprise whatsoever, and I don't think the Sivir really is either, but this means H2K should be confident to take the 2v2.
So, last time there was no Janna for SK. They ran Nami. Nami is not a support who can instantly disengage a fight. She provides a lot of CC, provides decent peel, but she won't like, okay, fight start, fight over, that's it. The whole thing has been reset. That's not what Nami does. So, H2K, if they want Rumble with the Sejuani like they ran in Game 3, that combo is open. When you're playing against a composition that takes a long time to scale and an immobile AD carry, that setup can run over SK so hard and so fast that we never get to the point where Forgiven can become a carry. And even if he does, we're gonna see tons of CC and a Sivir ulti used to lock him down. Morgana would make a lot of sense to stop that Sejuani ulti from hitting your AD carry. So I like that pickup from SK Gaming. It's also a flex pick that can put it top lane, but I would expect it to be the support lock in here for them with it. And that will stop at least their engage on Forgiven. Rest of the backline can still be caught out.
Yeah, and that may be all it really takes. That's the real question. This mid-game, if H2K decide to go that route, would be incredibly deadly to SK. The Morgana shall certainly help, but it's a very squishy team that can be burned down quickly. I would not be surprised to see the Rumble taken blind. And then, well, Ryu's got his pick to try and deal with the Kassadin.
The Morgana might change it up for H2K, and they want to go back to the tank top lane AP assassin pick in the mid lane instead for Ryu. Simply because they don't want to invest everything into diving that back line when there is the Black Shield. But I think both options for them are fairly viable. Main thing they need to focus on is the ability to close out the game and snowball. Ahri is one of the champions who does it really well. It's not going to be a Mumu.
Don't think so. And they will take the Hecarim as the timer ticks away. So it still accomplishes a good goal of getting in the enemy's face. And if you do land the Glacial Prison, it can really double up on the damage. But they think that it's going to be a little bit harder to hit the engage. They're very reliant on the teleports.
Well, if you look at how many ways they have to start fights, though, it's no longer just about Sejuani landing an ulti and that's it. Hecarim TP coming in, Charm landing from Yanan, from Ryu, Sivir ulti to speed up everyone. Like, you have enough tools
and the Janna
to say, okay,
too.
You might block one engage with the Black Shield, but you're not going to block the rest when we just dive onto you. I like the composition for H2K. They have all the tools needed to snowball an early lead and just force fights left and right on SK Gaming.
Well, and every one of these H2K champions has mobility. They have a lot of mobility on their side. SK Gaming, it's going to take a while to get up to that level. That is absolutely true. Even with this Shyvana locked in now for SK Gaming, it's going to be a difficult early game for them.
Yeah, this early game is so hard for them to pull off. Jinx is okay in lane against Sivir because you can outrange her with the rocket. Problem is, Sivir does a lot more damage than you in the laning phase, so she doesn't really care. She's gonna step forward anyway with the shield from Janna and take those trades and just push in the wave over and over. Shyvana, we know she takes time to scale up, Cinderhawk, everything. Odo Amne will try and match it with Smite himself, so at least the top lane that way goes even. But we're gonna have to see what H2K can do with such a heavy engaged composition to dive Forgiven in the back line. Only protection is a black shield. Kassadin, he goes one way. That's in towards the enemy backline. Lee Sin can sit back and peel, but it's so hard for him to do it properly. So there's not a whole lot of protection for Forgiven. In this case here, the rest of SK is looking to engage themselves. They just took Sejuani, the Shyvana. Messing up all the champion names here. They took the Shyvana into Janna as well. Freddy's not gonna get into that backline. He gets instantly shut out by the Monsoon. So SK Gaming is going to have such a hard time pulling off these team fights, especially if they start falling behind with a Kassadin, Jinx, Shyvana. I mean, slow scaling, man.
It worked well. It worked well for H2K, but this is SK's game. This is a different type of game for them, I should say, rather.
It's a game they lost with against Unicorns.
Exactly. I want to know what everyone at home thinks, though. Come on, you guys know what to do. Keep hitting us up on Twitter. Send us your predictions for this Game 5. It's all come down to this, of course. At LOL Esports, H2K win or SK win. Who goes home with the number 3rd place here in the European LCS?
50 championship points. Those are the ones who can decide if you go to Worlds next year, next split, or not. These points
make the
are very, very important. 20 difference, 50 for the winner, 30 for the loser in this match here. And we had 2 teams saying before the whole thing started, getting 3rd place is needed to save a season where we felt like we should have been in the final. Everything else will be disappointing. One of the teams is not going to be happy after this one.
Definitely not. Given turns on the rocket pressure, but Yarnan has quite a lot to trade with them. Start this one off. Everything looks to be normal lanes. I wouldn't be too surprised if that is the case.
No, that's fine.
Singler's pretty far forward, but they've got enough to finish off that ward to try brush as well.
Funny how there's a lot of talk after Unicorns of Love versus SK Gaming about the lack of Jinx for Forgiven. It was never taken away from Vardax. Vardax and Hillersang ran this Jinx Morgana lane so many times, and the whole goal is reach level 6, land a binding for Morgana, and then you change CC from binding into trap into Morgana ulti. That chunks them down so much that when you fire your ulti on Jinx, you end up getting the execute and the kill. So it's a heavy, heavy CC burst lane. H2K is gonna try and counter swap them here. Go top and do the Grump. Match them in terms of XP. And also
without the deep wards too,
want.
it's SK not knowing exactly.
They're predicting the swap from SK.
They're gonna wait in the brush as well. They're not gonna start on the Gromp, it looks like. They could put out some serious early damage with a forward position here. It looks like they will go to the 2nd brush.
Yeah, might just have a little trap then, get the early trade, or maybe just start pushing the wave in. A lot of ways, they haven't shown themselves. So SK might feel like, okay, they're probably going to be on bottom side. They're probably doing the crooks. We're going to walk into the lane here and start pushing it. Yana now realizes, okay, waiting a little bit too long for this one. And now SK has the XP advantage, which means if H2K decides to push this wave all the way up to the tower, SK will hit level 2 first and can start zoning away H2K, which can be a problem for them. Normally, you don't want to push if you didn't do a camp at level 1. Now we have level 2. That's where SK can go aggressive.
It is indeed. We still had chunked them a little bit, though, to start this one off. And if they can't take advantage of that early level 2 start, it's going to be all for naught. Yarnan should hit that one soon enough with the
should have played that one way better for SK Forgiven.
And then now it's gone.
Forgiven walked all the way back. Didn't want to be in auto attack trade range with the shield.
Oh.
This all in could have happened when H2K were level 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Heals popped on both sides. Yarnan is a lot lower than Forgiven, however. This is a very dangerous lane to be in up here in the top.
And potions being popped left and right.
Oh, yeah.
And Red is out of potions now. He tanked up the jungle camp and the trades here, so he's out of sustain.
This is an edge to the H2K
Yeah,
side.
massive edge for them. Let's see what Sven can do.
Let's
First
see
gank
if he can make the difference.
on the Lee Sin.
A ward in that tri-brush for H2K.
There's no flash. I'm lying to you. There are flashes. There's no ignite.
Yarnan uses his spell shield already, but he's very far forward. In comes Sven, a very timely Howling Gale, but that's going to force the flash out. Kasing, they turn their attentions to him. Gank is unsuccessful, except for burning some key summoners.
Like the play from Kasing. He walked in front of the Lee Sin to block the Q, knowing that he didn't have to flash. He could still stay alive. Therefore, only had to use the one from Yarnan here. Was too far up the lane, so some of the advantage has been lost slightly. But SK Gaming is still out of any sort of sustain in that lane here.
We haven't really talked about any lanes but this top one right now. Ryu been giving Fox a real hard time as an Ahri can to a Kassadin. Lane pushed in pretty heavily for Otoamne on the bottom side versus Freddy Shyvana as well. And still the pressure is on this top side. Svenskeren hanging around here. Throwing out the Krugs.
Yana is gonna freeze the wave up in the top lane, which is really smart now that Forgiven had gone back to base. Don't want to push it in so he can get some of the farm, and he's gonna get a second Dawn's Blade. Yana should be able to farm for a pickaxe, and then he suddenly has an item advantage once they push in the wave, and he goes back to base. Lane gonna be even more in favor of H2K in that sense. Lulex obviously just been farming on the Sejuani. We haven't seen him do a whole lot in the early game in this series. It's been all about the team fights for him. And that's why I love to see him on Sejuani.
It has been a monstrous pick for him in that game. Let's see if it happens again. He's sitting on a ward right now. So SK are going to be quite aware of what is going on. Yarnan on his next back should definitely be able to afford that pickaxe. We'll see if he's able to make good on this one. The charm's going to come in on Svenskeren as he moves. Ryu, he's going to go back to base himself, but he is just fine.
Great charm for him. Flash has been forced. Both mid laners used offensively from SK, defensively from H2K. Back in his top lane.
Yarnan's got the level advantage.
Yeah, he might just sit and farm up the BF sword at this point. He has 1100 gold. Only the Dawn's Blade. Second one for Forgiven here, so you can potentially force him back a second time very poorly. Where he's now delayed his 1550 gold power spike. That BF Sven is gonna spot Lulex.
Lulex spots Sven after that one. Looks to jump onto him. Ryu's here too. Sven could regret this. The charm lands. That's gonna be first blood straight to Ryu.
Look at the minimap here. Your Kassadin is back in base. Your top lane, or your dual lane in the top, is not exactly winning the lane. And you invade into the enemy jungle with absolutely no support from your laners. Very easy for H2K to walk in, punish him, get that first blood on Ryu. So important for H2K. They're the ones who really want to get that early lead, force teamfight on H2K, on SK. It's been a long day, Pyra.
Oh, yes, it has. This is the thing. This is what's plagued SK for a while, that lack of vision. And you might even say, well, we'll talk about it in a minute because Fox is going to get charmed up as well. Ryu is looking to make it 2-0. He won't have the chance as Sven this time comes around to save the day. But going back to it, yeah, SK Gaming, you cannot make those kinds of mistakes. This H2K team, that's getting me too now, has just been so good at punishing missteps like that and oversight.
Simply just greedy play. Like in game 4, now we have that BF sword we talked about so much.
This is going to be a really big opportunity to trade. Kasing is forcing Forgiven back by himself right now. Let's take a look at this bottom side though, because Freddy and Otoamne are dueling it out. Freddy looks to have the better of it so far, but that could change on a dime. Otoamne still pushes him back from the farm.
So Forgiven now, look how low he is after this fight in the bottom side. He's forced to go back to base, only getting a pickaxe. He's been delayed so much in his core build. H2K can once again freeze the wave top if they want to and keep forcing trades against SK Gaming in the bottom lane. At some point as well, they can just put Lulex on the top side and just push in the wave to the tower. Jinx won't be able to hold it for long, and H2K can suddenly get a tower advantage if they want to later on, because the mid lane is still very much in their control. The Kassadin has got level 6 now, can start pushing back a little bit, but you're not strong enough to really start roaming. Want more time on a Kassadin scaling, and the bottom lane, as we have seen, that's just going even between the two. They're just power farming against each other. So you now have a stronger 2v2 lane. Use it, H2K. Use it to put pressure on the top side, on that tower, and deny Forgiven even more.
I think that
Deep
is the
Water
name of the
step
game.
1, Kasing going for it.
Sing tosses a couple in, actually, yeah. Should be able to get away. Forgiven and Underrated hanging out in the river brush.
Look at the top side. Double ping in the river. So you got all the protection you need for H2K. Triple deep wards to spot Sven. You can see everything going on that side. That's why they want to, or that's what the reason they're doing it is, again, as we talked about.
They can shut him down
Yanin
here.
being ahead.
Lulex is there, Kasing is there, Sven gets spooked. Ryu is even coming in here. A whole lot of investment, and now Lulex is going to start off on the red himself as it resets. There's a teleport coming in. Odoamne, they want to force him back for this one. Forgiven, can he get under tower? He's going to go over the chompers. It's N-rated, they target, and it's N-rated, they take down. Now, looking at the tower dive, Forgiven knows he has got nowhere to go, and that is going to be the Glacial Prison grazing the edge of him as the heal comes in. Ryu will still pick him up. Lulex will still make it out. H2K, 5-man stack up in this top side. They get 2, and they look to get even more. After this, let's see what happens. Sven Skaren, oh so low, forced to burn his flash on that one. As Odoamne forces them all back. H2K should pick up this tower in the top quite handily.
I love the whole setup from H2K. You know you're stronger on that side, so you invest the deep wards, you try to contest the red buff, you look for the fight.
Oh.
Rocket is on the way.
It's going all the distance. Will it connect? It does, but it's not enough to pick a kill on Odoamne. Oh boy, Freddy's going to be able to take this dragon down, so that is some consolation prize to SK Gaming. But man, oh man, is H2K turning up the heat.
Yeah, top tower now down to about 15%. You got all the kills you want here. 2 for Ryu. Rushing that loot and Zeko we see so often on Ari. Great setup from H2K. Showing how to push the advantage, how to play around your strongest player at the moment. And it paid off for them. They're going to return to lane. Forgiven still doesn't have a BF sword. He's sitting on 870 gold. He's been set so far behind on this Jinx. And he has to almost swap bottom lane now if he wants to do anything. But H2K is already there with their dual lane, trying to push that one in, get some more damage to slowly chip away on these outer turrets. Odoamne with time will be able to get the top lane on his own. H2K gonna try and match them now. Average blade, that's when you give up your early game and you just say, I just need to get some gold. I need to get that BF sword. I need everything I can to help me. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I prefer just saving up for the BF sword because this one sets you even further behind with 800 gold. And you now aim for 2 item spike instead of the 1 with Infinity Edge by getting this average blade.
Yep, swapping down to the bottom. Yarnik and Sink are able to pick up the tower down there. Sven and Raiden and Forgiven are all around, but they cannot simply collapse. Freddy had given up his teleport, and Odoamne jumps on him here. This tower is close to being taken down.
And what does H2K do now? You push up the bottom lane, you go into the jungle of SK Gaming near the blue buff, you place a few more deep wards, and then you say, hello, Kassadin, do you have any wave clear? No, you don't? Okay, we're gonna take your mid tower. And suddenly all 3 outers are gone. H2K opens up the map, get multiple wards down, which you can use to TP on with a home guard Hecarim to start fights. And also you have the Sejuani, Lulex even playing it. And you just don't give SK Gaming a chance to sit back and farm. You just
or
keep
stay alive.
it.
Fox burning. Will he stay alive? It's Ryu. It's gonna be able to take him on another hit, but I think he won't make it out of this one. That shutdown gold over to Sven Skaren. The tower still stands, but not for much longer.
That doesn't count.
I mean, no, it really doesn't. Lulex, he thought about going in on that one, but even so, you've barely given anything back here. Yes, Sven definitely needed that gold. It helped him out, but the deep wards, this means they can rove around here. They can grab the control. Here comes the rocket. It's going far, very far. Will it be enough to take down Odoamne? Not quite.
Not quite. Gonna force him back, though, with this rocket here. Too unhealthy to stay.
But they've got 2 towers now.
Yeah. They're gonna get top turret as well whenever they want to. This tower is so low after the minions. Okay.
And they just take it.
It's probably gonna die to the minions now. Yeah, the minions doing work.
Just take it.
3 outer turrets, 4K gold lead, 12 minutes in. Kassadin needs to scale to late game. Jinx needs to scale to late game. Shyvana needs to scale to late game. SK Gaming should not even be allowed to get close to anything called late game with this start from H2K.
Not at all. They did manage to grab themselves a dragon. That was thanks to the efforts of Freddy after all of that movement up to the top side, but H2K should not allow them to get any more after this one. Ryu really starting to get out of control, 3-1-1 on this game. He has a hand in every one of the kills so far. We'll see if that continues.
Yeah. You keep the Hecarim top lane to keep pushing that one in. You have your Ahri either mid or bottom lane, so she's around the dragon, and you have that pick potential. as well from SK. So you can either do 1-3-1 setup, use your Fed mid lane, or you can do 1-4 and simply aim to land a charm or a Sejuani ulti when SK is trying to defend, because again, they have no proper wave clear, so they're gonna have to sit and auto-attack the minions. Sejuani throws an ulti, you put a charm in from Ryu and you one-shot someone, like they're dead and the tower is yours. So H2K has so many options now of how they want to play this. As long as they keep applying pressure on SK, it can barely be the wrong move when you're this far ahead.
This is very true, although we did think that a bit last game, maybe for a beginning. But this is also a comp that should do quite well in the mid game, as long as H2K doesn't give up too much. If they don't get complacent like SK did last time around, this game is definitely theirs to take wherever they want it. Now, Freddy could be in some trouble. You see a flank coming around from Lulex. Will it be enough? Dragon's Descent is available. It's used, but there's no tower. He may juke out Lulex, but I don't think he can survive the 1v2 for very long. The Pony is able to take him down. Svenskeren coming in for revenge. The rest of SK Gaming at the rocket doesn't hit. Grazes by Odoamne. Oh, some close calls.
Look towards the bottom lane. Janet pushing it in on his own here on this Sivir. He can fast push it very easily. We'll get some damage on the tier 2 at least. And all H2K is doing is basically waiting for Dragon to spawn so they can take that one away from SK Gaming. And then they start looking at pressuring these lanes here and the tier 2 towers. As soon as you get in these deep wards and you push all the lanes at once, SK Gaming, whenever they have to move between lanes, has to take the long way around. You walk all the way back to your inhibitor turrets, then you walk over to mid lane, then you walk down. It takes longer, obviously, than walking straight through the jungle of the enemy team, which H2K can do, and just always be in a numbers advantage, always get some damage, as long as they time the minion waves. And SK Gaming just has no answer at this point, with 0 wave clear. 0 damage.
No answer at all right now.
Now they got to be a sword Unforgiven. Took 15 minutes.
And meanwhile, Fox had only just completed the Rod of Ages. It's not super far behind, but it's not ideally where you want to be at. Odoamne pushing back the top side again. He's got teleport available to him. Double smites on both sides, but I feel H2K definitely feeling more confident about that one, and with good reason to be. Odoamne should be able to easily back away from this one. The team moving to the Dragon side soon, with that one coming right back up. Yeah. SK, however, are roaming together, and they're not going to give this up for free.
So SK has timed the blue buff pretty well, and seem to be expecting Ryu to be on that blue buff. That's why they can move into Dragon. They should not be allowed to get this one. If they started, look at Odoamne sitting in base. He's TPing behind them. We're going to get a fight.
We are going to get a flank indeed. Svenskeren is going to hop over. And here is Odoamne for the rest of them. The Ice Prison won't be quite enough, but they do get the slowdown as Odoamne now is going to ult back in. Dragon's Descent, the rocket doesn't go anywhere. And then still, no one's taken down just yet, but Ryu is about to change that, picking off Svenskeren. One smite is down. Freddy now, they're targeting him out as the rest of the team moves away. Freddy backed against the wall, nowhere to go. And H2K come up with a quick 2 kills. Moving towards the mid.
Gonna get that mid tower as well. Kassadin back in base. Great TP coming in for H2K. They just wanted to fight. Didn't even matter if they were out of position or anything. They just wanted to fight. We see the power. Lud and Zeko rush Ari. Once Ryu joins, everyone from SK just drops low.
And there's no teleport now on Freddy, so they can very safely take this Dragon. Yes, Odoamne backed, but he'll be back pretty quickly to try and pick off this Dragon. H2K will secure number 1, and SK just can't do much to contest this. A lot of wards littering their jungle too. Well, they can try.
SK has full HP. They've been back to base. They've been able to reset. Kasing is very low, so H2K wants to disengage now.
Yeah, they do. Kasing, he could go down. He does. It's Fox who picks him up, but Odoamne, they're still forcing the fight. They targeted out Forgiven. Forgiven goes down. That's not worth at all. And raided. The Soul Shackles are out, but it won't be enough. They take him down. Ryu is gonna get picked up. Svenskeren will get the credit for that one, but Fox is soon to fall after. A double kill for Odoamne. 2 for 3, but the Dragon secured by H2K, and Lulex.
Jungle fight.
He's still going. Flash. Okay. Crazy escape by Sven.
Crazy escape.
But that shouldn't have been necessary. Even with the full HP, they didn't have the number advantage quite when they needed it. Let's take a look at how that fight before shook out, though.
Yeah, so with SK moving down to this Dragon, which they shouldn't even get close to, with how far ahead H2K are. At first, it looks okay. Quite a lot of damage onto H2K, but wait for Ryu. He's going to come down here in the bottom of your screen. Look at the Lud and Zeko damage from him as well, and suddenly, people just drop down. SK realizes there's nothing they can do to win the fight, and gives up 2 kills and the mid lane tower for it.
You know how the rest has gone so far. Meanwhile, Forgiven is caught by Ryu in the mid lane. Isolated, goes down.
And look at that last fight as well. I know SK is behind, but the difference between a Hecarim coming in and a Shyvana who has no way of really jumping into H2K when there's a Janna in the way. This hurt SK so much early in the series, and they picked it again into Janna. Janna was first pick from H2K. It is so hard for Freddy to do anything, and it just makes this pick look really weak, honestly.
Does indeed. Now the tower in the top being fired down. Dark Binding won't hit. Freddy is charmed and knocked up, so he can't run into the team. He's gonna still have to back away. A lot of damage dealt there. Fox is gonna have to take his Rift Walk backwards. H2K muscling out SK out of their own jungle. Ryu takes position in the brush, has to back out. Tormented Soil underneath. But they are still on the tower.
It just looks like you just throw in the ult and you get a kill and you get a tower.
Easily. SK, they've got limited options to try and defend this. It's going down one way or another, and that is the way it goes. Yarden will get the credit on that tower. Taken down. Take a look at the score right now. 5 towers to the none that SK have managed to get this game. H2K are making a statement here. After going down 2 games in the opener of this series, Officio, they are on the brink of taking it all the way back. A reverse sweep to claim 3rd place in the European LCS this spring.
Just very, very surprising to see a team like SK who has so much, was so good at playing the early game, playing that style. In the last game of this split for them, they completely ignore the early game and just pick a full scaling composition despite having 0 success on it against Unicorns of Love in the semifinals. They go back to it. And while, I mean, again, I guess if you have a perfect team fight and you get a few kills on your Kassadin and on your Jinx,
may not be enough.
I mean, yeah, not even that is going to be enough. H2K will still be ahead, and they're just so far away, so far ahead of SK. We're going to have to see some crazy pick and some big, big mistakes from H2K there to lose this game.
This is what SK is trying to force. They're chasing down targets, but they're leaving their flanks open. Ryu is able to grab a tower on the bottom side. SK are just being bled out here, and there is no way to answer H2K's objective-focused gameplay and very, very smart critical thinking in this one. SK is just not playing optimal.
No, and just looking at the first 2 picks from SK, is what H2K did. Said, oh, pick Kassadin Jinx. Okay, here's Heavy Engage, here's a Sejuani, here's a Sivir. We are just gonna force fights over and over and over in the early to mid game, and you will never be able to fight us. So either you surrender your towers and your jungle completely, or you die. So it's just very smart pick and ban phase for H2K, and a very, very bad draft for SK with the way they like to play, and with the 2 early picks showing the entire composition from the get-go, with Kassadin and Jinx coming in.
Haven't really let them get much of anything. Forgiven 0-3-1 on this Jinx. He's still not on the BF, or not on the Infinity Edge, excuse me. As he picks up, he had his 2nd boots. He still has the Avarice Blade, but he's hurting for some damage. Missing the rockets hasn't helped either. But SK Gaming as a whole, they have the scaling on their side if they can hold out, but the problem is they're already down 10,000 gold. It's 22 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
That is an absolutely massive lead. Look at the damage that Yarden is able to do. They're moving even further in. Forgiven forced to flash away from this one. The zap, the Dark Binding to push them even further back, but that's still just gonna buy some time. It's another minute on the next Dragon. But H2K, they control this map.
Yeah, they can go Baron if they want to and just force SK into a fight, or take it for free. It doesn't even matter now for H2K. No flash for Forgiven. He's going to be a fairly easy target. Ryu setting up a little trap.
Yep, he gets the charm. Black Shield not going to do too much as the Baron is at half its health already. Svenskeren looking for a smite fight. He's going to be able to do it. The kickback. Wait, not quite enough. He's going low. He's going down. The rocket's intercepted. The Baron is secured. Fox trying to salvage the situation, but it won't do a thing. Yarden now will go down to Freddy, and Rated and him are tearing through Ottawamne as well, but they've still managed to secure it. Will Ottawamne live through this one? No. It's a double kill for Freddy. And Lulex falls too.
I thought he was out.
Okay. So Ryu is the only survivor with the Baron buff, but still, H2K didn't give that one up.
SK made the best out of the situation for them.
Absolutely.
Getting 4 kills for it. Ryu didn't manage to one-shot Svenskeren at first, so he was almost out of the fight. And they were tanking the Baron. Freddy got in on this Shyvana, finally got into the team. Let's see what happens. So Sven Doesn't get a one shot here. H2K is tanking up the Baron. Kasing goes down, so now
Sven dies mid-jump because Lulex intercepts him.
Finally, Freddy gets into the team together with the rest of SK and start chasing up. And with tanking the Baron, with Rio not being a big part of the fight as well, H2K does surrender quite a lot of kills. Not sure what Lulex is doing.
Not sure.
I mean,
either.
right here, you just run out and you say, okay, we saved 2 people, but no, for some reason that was a bit weird there. One a little bit more.
SK Gaming are going to take this opportunity to try and force the Dragon.
TP.
There is a TP from Otoamne, though. They should be on
Forgiven has no flash, remember.
Forgiven still got no flash available. They're going to go in, secure the Dragon, and then turn the fight around. Forgiven might be safe for now, and Sven Skaren just moves right on through them. This fight is going all kinds of hectic, but they've already managed to secure up and raided. As Sven Skaren comes in, he gets knocked up immediately and has to flash his way out. Freddy is going to be going down. Fox is going to try to finish Ryu. He doesn't have enough. The shield comes in to keep him alive. That's going to be 4 kills on the board. They're going to be able to secure the ace after this one. No way Forgiven makes it out. That's the ace, and they get the Dragon. H2K thundering back.
Everything. The only thing we've been in this game in favor of SK was those 4 kills at that Baron. Now we're back to the style we've seen all game long. H2K using their insane engaged composition to just roll over SK Gaming. There's no damage yet on their side. It's going to be inhibited down. 25 minutes in. Things are looking so great for H2K.
Yeah, things are looking.
And we got
good
another
indeed.
ardent sensor for Kasing. I mean, that guy.
Hey, he's
he
got the
doesn't
ardent
care.
but this time he also built.
He got the soul steal
also
this
built
time.
the soul steal,
That's
but
true.
he died. So it wasn't worth the Fishio.
Not yet.
Oh, I mean, it is now because they just got an ace. But
Yeah, he's on 8 stacks.
Yeah.
It's worth.
He'll be all right.
It's
It's
gold
worth.
efficient. It's gold efficient. And then I do wonder if it's a serious build for him, or if it's something he likes to do when they are pretty far ahead. I mean, if you do buff your AD carry with it, it does give you quite a lot of pushing potential on a tower. Now that you already are so far ahead, you shield up your AD carry, gets the attack speed, and then you can of course take it down a little bit faster. But that's about the only thing he's really gaining from it. AP is obviously great on the Janna, but
that helps. So they were able to push out a little bit more thanks to Ryu. He was the lone surviving member with the Baron buff. And that's gone now. We'll head back to base after clearing out some in the top side. But this H2K team, you said it, hitting the nail on the head. Insane engage composition. It's something that SK just cannot handle when they're chased down. Forgiven still doesn't have this flash, and Otoamne has the damage. Forgiven won't make it out of this one. Otoamne picks him up. Kasing was burning, but he is going to make it out too. And Otoamne comes around the side. How about a double kill? And now they're turning on the mid.
now you got the ardent sense on your AD carry. You push on that tower faster than normal. Look at that shield from Kasing. Look at the attack speed.
Oh yeah, they've got all that they need to keep rolling forward. Inhibitor number 2, the one in the middle, that's going to be taken down by H2K. There's no one really here to defend. A parting shot from Enrated with the Dark Binding. They might want to end this right here, Deficio. Nexus turret's going down. Their death timers aren't that high, but they've got enough time. They've got enough damage. They want to end this one here. It's not yet 27 minutes. We've seen some close games today, but this one just might take the cake. It's going to go down to the wire, but the Nexus is going down. H2K are the number 3 team in Europe.
Being down 2-0, it looked like SK Gaming had all the answers to H2K. And then we see a complete change in the way they were playing from that game 3, where we got to see Otoamne rumble, the backline snipe, and every single pick and ban phase, not every single one, but at least the last one here.
Quite a lot of them.
Was so strange from SK. Why do you go away from the style that's worked for you all split long into a full late game setup where you have no answers the first 30 minutes to anything H2K can do? They matched the swap top lane. They got the 2v2 lane. It worked in their favor. Ryu and Ari got massively fed, obviously. And then we just look at how good H2K can be when it comes to closing out games. And we saw in game 4 how cool they can keep it look for enemy mistakes and then punish them to get back in the game as well. We see two different
We've seen a lot from them. I mean, they have
Sure.
their old bag of tricks. You know, they've got the objective focus play style. They've got the smart punishing style that, you know, didn't quite seem to work out in those first 2 games against SK. But then you had, going back to the playoffs, the Ryu step up and carry. We saw him a couple of games being able to do that. That Ari with the Luden's Echo came in massively handy. But the ridiculous amount of engage they had. The last 2 games, I want to pinpoint Lulex as well, because 2 games on Sejuani, 1 on Gragas. The Sejuani games, he didn't even hit the number of Glacial Prisons, not even close. But it was absolutely awesome to see those fights get started, and they were pretty much finished from there.
Lulex has looked fantastic when it comes to team fights. My personal MVP is looking at Odoamne, though, in that top lane. Seeing him mix up his picks a little bit. We know he's been playing a lot of different styles before he got into the LCS, but the main focus has always been tanks for him in the LCS for H2K. Pulling out that Rumble allowed the Z pickup to come in, which was so important for the draft itself and so much in favor of H2K. His Hecarim performance in this last game here was near perfect. I mean, he was just running over people left and right. And I think he's shown different styles as a top laner on the highest level, and he's been a step above Freddy in this series here.
I completely agree.
Especially also because Freddy kept going back to the Shyvana, which didn't work for him most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, there really is a clear-cut difference in that individual style. And I think H2K, their teamwork really saw them through this time. You know, we always talk about MVPs and players that step up and deliver.
I mean, yeah,
but it's always different on H2K. It's always, they always have